Hi, I'm Cheryl Lucas DeBerry, and I'm here to talk to you about Principles of Management 2. Principles of Management 2 is the second installment in our Principles of Management series, and it really covers two major components, communication and motivation. Now, communication in many cases really can be said to be the major skill that leaders possess. But communication really consists of much more than giving directions and instructions and then kind of waiting to see what happens. New leaders, in particular, are oftentimes surprised at how their level of responsibility increases as they assume the role of the leader within their organization. Communication needs to happen with senior management, it needs to happen with your team and leaders, it needs to happen with your internal peers, and oftentimes with even your customers and suppliers outside of the organization. That's why we devote an entire day to communication. Communication really focuses on nonverbal behavior, and you will be surprised at the percentage of your communication that really is nonverbal versus verbal. We do talk about verbal communication and the words that you choose to use and really how they can impact your overall communication. We'll also talk about emails and how you can communicate via email what's appropriate and what's inappropriate to use in your emails. We'll then talk about understanding your own communication style, where you will discover your communication style, but then we'll talk about how you can communicate with people that don't have the same style as yourself. And sometimes those styles are polar opposite, but we give you tools on how you can communicate with people who don't have the same style as yourself. Then we'll also explore how to have those potentially difficult conversations while you're minimizing the possibility of negative reactions or even sometimes defensiveness on the part of your team member. We'll talk about how you can give honest feedback and balanced feedback, ensuring that the feedback really is balanced. We sometimes will focus more on the positive or more on the negative, but in this class we'll really talk about and give you some tools where you can use that balanced feedback so people will know how they're doing on the team, but also how their behavior is affecting the overall organization. On day 2, we'll talk about motivation and really what motivation is, where it comes from, and your role in creating that motivating work environment. We'll spend some time talking about various motivational theories, how those can impact the organization. We'll talk about understanding what motivates you as a leader, what motivates your team members, and how these motivators really can be different and the effect that those differences then can have on the overall employee performance. In addition, we'll talk about the effect that recognition or the lack thereof has on an individual or team member's status. All of these things pulled together will encourage you to chart your own course when it comes to developing and understanding what will work most effectively for you, how you can communicate most effectively, how you can motivate your staff, and that then impacts the overall team as well as the organization.